India is not an ordinary energy agreement. It is a dangerous political exception that weakens the global nuclear non-proliferation regime. Nearly 12 years after Australia and India signed their civil nuclear cooperation agreement in September 2014, Canberra has moved to export uranium to New Delhi. The original deal was signed by Tony Abbott and Narendra Modi in 2014. From the beginning, the danger was obvious. Australian uranium may enter India's civilian sector, but it can indirectly help expand India's nuclear weapons program. That danger has never been resolved. Australia's parliamentary committee urged restraint. It argued that India should first sign the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty and credibly separate its civilian and military nuclear facilities. Australian analysis also opposed uranium sales without strict preconditions. India offered no meaningful concessions, yet Canberra proceeded anyway. India's domestic nuclear record makes this decision even more reckless. Nuclear energy remains deeply unpopular in many affected Indian communities. Thousands have protested against expanding nuclear projects. Local residents have challenged weak safety measures, secrecy, and inadequate safeguards. Reports of radiation exposure and hospital radiation death traps have damaged public confidence. India's Auditor General had identified serious regulatory, security, and administrative failure years earlier. There have also been disturbing reports of Indian nuclear scientists dying under mysterious circumstances. The conclusion is unavoidable. India's nuclear establishment is too opaque, insecure, and disorderly to deserve blind international trust. Australia knows that uranium is not an ordinary commodity. It holds the world's largest known uranium reserves, yet originally banned uranium sales to India because India is not a member of Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT. That policy had logic. This new policy does not. Uranium is inherently dual use. It can produce electricity, but it can also support nuclear weapons production. Whereas Australia is also bound by the Treaty of Rarotonga, which created a nuclear weapon-free zone in the South Pacific. Pacific states have a legal process to challenge treaty violations. If Canberra supplies yellow cake to India without full-scope safeguards, treaty members could lodge a case against Australia and potentially take the dispute to the International Court of Justice. Then there is the NPT problem. Article 3 requires safeguard through the International Atomic Energy Agency. The 1995 NPT Review and Extension Conference reinforced full-scope safeguards as a condition of nuclear supply. India does not place its entire nuclear program under such safeguards. Selected civilian facilities may be inspected, but military facilities remain outside the system. The deal also contradicts Australia's own uranium export policy, which requires assurances that Australian obligated nuclear material will not be diverted toward explosive, military, or other non-peaceful purposes. But simply tracking Australian uranium does not close the real loophole. Imported uranium can fuel India's safeguarded civilian reactors while freeing India's domestic uranium for unsafeguarded military facilities. Canberra may claim that Australian uranium will not directly enter a nuclear weapon, but the deal can release other uranium for weapon production. Proponents of the deal, however, defend the agreement by citing India's supposedly absolutely impeccable non-proliferation record. That claim is historically indefensible. India used plutonium from the Canadian-supplied Cyrus reactor provided for peaceful purposes for its 1974 nuclear test. India diverted civilian nuclear assistance towards a nuclear weapon. Reports have also linked Indian entities to technology transfers that helped Iran, Iraq, and Libya develop weapons of mass destruction and long-range missile capabilities. IHS Janes also reported expanding covert uranium facilities in India capable of supporting greater nuclear weapons production. India's search for foreign uranium is therefore not merely about electricity. Foreign uranium allows India to conserve its domestic reserves for a nuclear arms race with Pakistan and China, two countries with which India has fought 5 wars since 1947. In this context, former Australian Safeguard Chief John Carlton warned that Australian uranium could contribute to the production of unsafeguarded plutonium that ultimately